Good game, and wow, we're already into Champions League.
All right, let's do it. Rumble, the first ban here for King. We've swapped sides over. There'll be our blue team here for this second game of our best of 2, Master3. Over on the red side this time around, and Cassidy going to get another respect ban here.
Yeah, so Rumble being taken away from Looper this time, just not liking the zoning potential that brought to the team fight. I thought it was actually a lot to do with the Thresh and actually the bottom lane in general coming out of M3 there. Able to get themselves back in the game with some key hooks onto Lamb, who played an Annie that I didn't really agree with that much. So
yeah, I mean, we saw his Thresh yesterday, and even in their losses, it looked great there from King's support. Interesting to see if we even see a first pick Thresh to block that away, which would just be insane in any sort of draft. But Jana will get a ban here again, super top tier support, heavily bannable.
Yeah, it definitely is, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that first pick Thresh pastry time, especially after how strong we saw it was in that mid game of really scratching and clawing their way back in. Going through M3's lineup, signs of life finally. We see that Dade flashes of brilliance, definitely nothing used to the Dade that we're used to seeing. Maybe not as on point with his mechanics and able to move around the map, but did have some good periods in that time. But it was really Looper stepping up for me in that game that really changed it for them. Yeah,
not going to get banned as well. Everyone's learned their lesson, I think, about that champion. LeBlanc here, banned from King actually. Do not want to play against their own LeBlanc, basically. The Assassin played very well.
So maybe putting it that high that they're putting it on an equal with Thresh, and they're like, do we want LeBlanc or Thresh first? And I think that Thresh wins out in that pick for King because of how well Lamb played it.
Well, that means Lissandra or Rek'Sai or both will be open at this point in the game, and Jarvan's also going to be hanging out. You want to think about top tier picks. Sivir as well will likely go through. She's not really bannable, I don't think, yet in China. She's seen maybe a couple of bans, 1 or 2 so far, but we're going to have Lissandra, and that's going to leave a lot open here for King, but 2 good picks for M3 as well.
Yeah, so they're going to take the Jarvan, and wow, Rek'Sai being hovered straight away from Roy. I think it matches his playstyle well. Able to get in there and really affect lanes. Knockup's one of the best CCs in the game, but that will also give them Thresh, and wow, that's 2 power picks. Don't really agree with the Jarvan pickup because of the fact that Rek'Sai was still up. Just, if there's 2 equally good jungles, take away the best support.
And we talk about this a little bit when we think about drafting. I think one of our fun statistics from day one was that most of the teams that won on the red side would then win on the blue side. It almost felt like people on the red side, or the team that started on the blue side, sorry, sort of panicked a little bit in draft, lost to something in game 1, and then panicked again and just gave away too many picks once the first pick came back around. I think King have maybe made the opposite mistake here, where they've just let a lot of power through, and this is huge pickups for M3. Rek'Sai, a massive bannable jungler, and the Thresh at Love City played to almost perfection.
And what a dive comp coming out of King here, locking in a Maokai and a Sivir. They're going to be in the face of M3 from start to finish.
Yeah, they really are. And this is the normal combo that we've seen from a lot of the Chinese Sivir-based comps. Maokai is probably the single best champion you can have to just get in there. He's really good once you can W into a carry. He just can't get himself in there very much.
And this would be a usual response out of Looper, actually. If they play heavy team fight compositions, I would expect him to pick up the Singe, be that split pushing terror that will absolutely run circles around you, then be able to use his team fights while the Maokai has to pick up the lane. He's played it before, and it looks like he's playing it again.
Looper is playing Singed in an LPL game. Corky picked up there as well. Candy going to repeat that performance, and what a performance it was in game 1 here. And King were doing some hovering of that particular champion. That's actually been banned against Assassin, but we'll see what he wants to play here, as King have got a couple of things to decide here. How do they want to take their Sivir? And as I said, Marco works well there. Jarvan not as well, because he kind of gets himself in there, but it's not bad to speed up these big, heavy engaged champions.
Yeah, definitely. And wow, if these are the last 2 picks, what a Yasuo comp they've put together. Every single person, apart from that Sivir, can get someone in the air for Yasuo to really be able to take advantage for it. And I can see a little bit of a fist pump coming out of you, Pastry Time. Yasuo is certainly a fun champion to watch.
Really great to watch. And again, this is almost the fabled Yasuo from Assassin. It's been banned by the one team. Sorry, EDG just like, no, don't want it. Too much respect. King didn't choose to take it in their last game. This will actually give the counter pick though over to M3 Dade. So he's very experienced with this champion Yasuo and in the matchups there as well. I also really like the Braum. One of the hallmarks of Chinese supports is that they almost always pick heavy engaged support, which is why I'm surprised that John has seen a lot of play, because it doesn't fit their style as much. And again, when you have a Sivir you want to get in, Braum's a great champion to get in the mix.
Yeah, definitely, and able to put that zone pressure almost like a Rumble does with his ultimate. Of course, a big knock up, then the slow. And it looks like Dade will actually take Azir into the matchup. Didn't like his Azir when we saw it earlier, so we'll see if he can turn it around because, yeah, he didn't play it to, I think, the best effect that Azir can be playing.
Yeah, seems competent at least, so certainly he's got games with the champion, understands it. Maybe not again to the level that Azir's high skilling dictates because that's very high, but this is a great matchup here for Azir. Yasuo's win wall does nothing.
Yeah, and the weakness of Yasuo is his level 1, 2, 3, 4, where he can't really get in there and mix it up, and Azir will be able to poke him out there. So I think that it's definitely a matchup in favor of Azir, but then you look at the, I guess, potential of the champions in who is playing them, and you would have to say that Assassin is much more comfortable on his champion.
Yeah, and I haven't seen him play this yet, but it's clearly something that the teams know about and that he feels comfortable on. Curious to see how well he does here on this pick, but Dade's got a great counter pick. And that's sort of Yasuo's issue. He fell off in the mid lane just because a lot of the counter picks developed, and there's many champions that are very popular that can be picked against him.
Yeah, and it was kind of a playstyle thing as well, Pastry Time. As soon as he puts that wind wall up, people were just starting to run through it and really give him a lot of hard time. People were picking up things like Ahri that could dive through. The Rise was certainly popular at the end of last season before the nerfs came through. So, he fell out of favor, not only because, I guess, the nerfs came through, and they did hit him very hard. It was more because people just decided they weren't going to play that way against Yasuo.
Yeah, and I guess moving through the other matchups, let's look at the jungle real quick, because you mentioned that you don't really like first pick Jarvan. Now, Jarvan clearly a good jungler. Top 3, I think, arguably on this patch, but Rek'Sai in the hands of M3's jungler Rua here.
Yeah, I generally love first pick Jarvan. I actually think that because I think that Rek'Sai should be permanently banned because she is so strong at the moment. I think that Jarvan is definitely the next strongest champion on the patch. But if there are 2 strong jungle champions up and only one really key support, that Thresh, why not take the Thresh away? But in the end, it does fall down to the Rek'Sai versus Jarvan, so it will be interesting to see what they can get going.
Shall indeed, but we are on to the Rift here for our second game between King and a Master3. King on the blue side this time around with a couple of comfort picks, but a similar looking Sivir comp here for themselves with a few more hard engaged. Shows Master3 on the right-hand side. Rek'Sai is one of their champions, and Lupa, fan favorite here, is going to take his Singed into battle.
Yeah, it certainly looks like that with that Ghost as well, so not scared about being caught in a Cataclysm with MLXG. Will have to stay in there for a long time unless he flips someone out. And an actual early invade coming through, so maybe looking for a lane swap, maybe looking to pick up a buff for themselves.
And I think one of the most characterizing elements of King's play from what we've heard, and also just in that last game, aggression is a big component of how they like to play, and they looked decent in the mid to late game, but maybe a little less comfortable. So I think they want to turn it up just a little harder now. They've got lots of good knockups for this Yasuo combo as well, and the Sivir to really get all this hard engage in.
Yeah, but I think the worrying thing for King is that what we've seen from M3 is that they make you play on their terms. They're really trying to dictate pace, and they kind of, I don't want to say it in a negative way, but bring you down to their level and then kind of beat you with experience from what we saw in the first game. And this is a definitely heavy execution-based comp coming out of King. If anything goes wrong, this Yasuo could be rendered completely useless in a team fight. So will be interesting to see how it plays out.
We are going to break out into standard lanes, though, it seems like. We've actually got a bit of a standoff here in the bottom lane. Both of the dual lanes camping brushes here, but I think we'll probably just have a couple of trades here. Blue buff start here for MLXG's job. I'm going to go Gromp into blue.
And actually just red start for Ruo, so not any small camps, just going straight for a buff.
We've seen a lot of this from the Chinese junglers, actually. I'm not sure if it's just they want sort of an option where if I want to gank level 2, I can, and they do it on a lot of early pressure junglers, but they just seem to like to get that camp out of the way and start off there.
Yeah, and once again, Sivir versus Corki in this lane, so expect Sivir to have a fairly easy time of it. Actually, Dade being harassed down a little bit in the top mid lane, as we see. This Singe just going to continue to shove into the turret. It's going to be so annoying to deal with.
Assassin's Yasuo just getting aggressive, really weaving in between those minion waves. This sort of a really intricate battle of zoning here. It's Dade's soldiers versus basically his own minion wave, because that's where Assassin wants to be, so we can get maximum mobility.
Yeah, and it looks like it is slowly paying into Assassin's favor. That's a 9-3 creep wave here as Dade having trouble to last hit with all the pressure that's coming through from Assassin. Some nice damage going down from Dade onto Assassin, but it's kind of the race between the health bar and the mana bar from Dade, who is extremely low on mana. Yeah,
Azir does actually go rather swiftly, so you have to be a bit careful here using those soldiers too frugally. But Looper in the top here has watered up for himself with his Trinket Warden. He'll be farming away on Singe. In fact, this will be a pretty heavy farm lane, I think.
Yeah, it certainly will be. Singe has absolutely no problem scaling up against the Maokai, and that's why it is seen as like a quasi-counterpick. Means that he can push the lane out much more quickly and be able to get around and impact the map, do some counter jungling for himself with some deep wards. So, yeah, I do like the matchup for Singe especially.
Yep. Assassin hanging back a little bit now. I think sense that Ruo might be around for a gank. It's a pretty reasonable 2-buff gank timing, so Assassin going to play back for now. It's one of the weird things about Yasuo is that he tends to push these lanes kind of incidentally almost.
Yeah, well, it's how you use your harass, because you want to dart in between the minion wave, keep that E passive up and be able to do as much damage through it as possible. We've actually seen some people throw extra points into the E. I think that now that the changes have come through, it is more beneficial to pick up the Q, and we might have the first gank of the game.
Nice bluff.
Just a bluff there coming from Love CD.
Yep, just scaring them off here. Candy's Corki is getting pressured here, and I feel like we're seeing almost too much of this Sivir versus Corki matchup now. A lot of the Chinese teams are willing to pick Sivir just willy-nilly almost into anything. And I feel like maybe what you were talking about a bit last game, where bring the Caitlyn back, bring the long range harassment champions back in, and try and punish this very predictable pick. Yeah,
well, that's the thing. If they're going to continue to pick this, especially so early on, why not just get something to get rid of it completely? Because, yeah, there are definitely some counter picks to completely force her out of lane. And wow, we've had probably the longest start of a farming game in a long time, and wow, now there's some action.
Yes, Assassin does want to go in. Dade zoned him out, but MLXG is here. Assassin trying off to the side. He maybe can get back in. Dade with his exhaust will come in. It's level 5-3, and Yasuo is trying to join back, but Rek'Sai's here as well. Assassin's got to be so careful. Dade low, actually. Java might be able to get first blood, and he does.
Oh, fantastic play out of MLXG. Recognizing that Dade had no mana and just persisting with the fight. Assassin staying out to the side, keeping Dade interested, I guess, and a good flat.
Uh-oh.
Okay, someone died in the mid lane.
That was Java, and he stayed a little too long there, and Ruo, that's a very easy kill.
Yeah, able to pick the kill up, and it will continue to push in Dade's favor. So even though he's down 9 CS, that will put the lane in quite a good spot. That means Assassin can't back yet, has to go and push that out. And the first lot of dirty farming coming out of Lupa.
Lupa, going back to his old habits here. Farming between those two turrets here is actually a nice play from Love City. Keeps Liam back. Actually, while we're in the bottom lane, I do like the Braum pick into Thresh. I think it's not exactly a counter, but you can manage a lot of Thresh's engage with it. So maybe that's why King wanted to leave it open. In fact, going aggressive onto Candy, going to change up the makeup of this lane a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't take much damage from the creeps as well, so good trade. We'll keep the minion wave on their side of the map. And once again, once Wax is able to pick up a couple of levels, we'll just be able to start dictating the pace of this bottom lane.
Yep. Assassin going to move back in. Actually gone for a Zeal here. Not going to go for the slightly greedier Avarice Blade, but will presumably be building into a static shift fairly early on. Dade with his Fiendish Codex is going to go back as well. And if we were wondering just how comfortable Assassin is, we saw him in the mid lane a couple minutes ago, weaving effortlessly, cancelling his auto attacks into ease. So this guy definitely knows how to play Yasuo.
Yeah, definitely looks like a comfort pick here for him. He's picked up a green and a pink ward as well, so maybe looking to get MLXG back into that lane, get some more jungle pressure down onto Dade and really start to shut him down. We see how mana hungry this pick is from Dade Azir. He's gone back already and picked up 2 Fairy Charms as well, so we'll be moving into an early Morellonomicon, but won't be going for that Zhonya's Hourglass, which he will need against the burst potential that comes out of Yasuo.
You alluded to it already, but this is turning into quite the farm fest, actually. 2 kills here in the first 7 minutes or so of the game, and there's 2 lanes, I feel like, that want to farm for both teams, actually. The mid and the top lane are going to collect as much farm as possible, and even the bottom lane, you know, wants to get maybe their 1-2 item power spike before going in. A bit of aggression, actually, as Liam will block that up with Unbreakable, but it's really up to the junglers to dictate early game pressure if they even want to do that.
Yeah, and both junglers do it well, and we see that Ruo might want to get in there.
Assassin actually goes to smite, and the knockup does come through. That first Q misses. Assassin has to be careful, and there's the rest of Lupa coming in. I think he poured it down, but there's the first kill. Sky in trouble as Wax down the bottom now as well. Also has to back away. Maokai Telly a little too late there, and now Liam down the bottom going in onto Candy. Needs a few more auto attacks. There's one for Braum. The stun does get flashed, but a good flash forward there coming through for Liam, and now Candy's got to be careful. Few more attacks need to come through. Ignite not enough to kill Corki, and he will get out.
Yeah, what good movement coming out of Love CD to try and stay even with Braum and block as many auto attacks as possible. Looks like Ruo will be counter jungling here, as in the bottom lane we do have Candy falling down, and now Cloud Love CD's in a lot of
he
trouble.
got flagged, and Love CD getting chased down. Wax will pick up that kill very cleanly, and Java, nice timing able to pick up that kill. Thresh actually traded for Braum.
In response in the top lane.
Yeah, Sky now in trouble as Lupa and Ruo are going to chase him out. He gets thrown back and forth there. Marco nowhere to go. Actually flashes there, probably a waste. Does heal up a bit, but Ruo is going to get that next kill, and that's about 3 kills in a minute.
2-0-1 now for the jungler from M3 side. Didn't give that one across to Lupa, who I'm sure would have appreciated a lot, but he started to build himself a fairly big gold lead, only 400 actually at this point, so two 1-on-1 actually coming through for the jungler on the other side as well. Wow, jungler's being heavily involved all over the map.
Yeah, well, we said it was going to be a jungler early game here with a lot of farming going on, and both MLXG and Ruo getting involved very early and getting some kills here for their team. Still moving up through, as looks like Vision's going to get cleared out in the neutral river zone here.
Yeah, a little bit of invade coming in on the red buff on M3 side. Both top and, both mid and jungle were in there, and support's rotating over now as well. As you said, when they come in a lot of members.
Yep, everyone arrives now. Assassin going to get locked on there. So lock on Yasuo's going to pop in as well. Great knock up there from Brom's Glacial Fissure, but Ruo gets the first kill. Dade solo will die to Yasuo's Ignite. And now Assassin going to keep moving in. Ruo is low there. He's going to get stunned up with one more auto. Lamb's going to chase him, pops the bite, and just actually crushes a tunnel. Nice little mechanics.
Yeah, so Love CD leaving that fight relatively early with a lot of HP, so maybe a little bit of not wanting to overcommit with another member rotating around, but in the end, trade 1-for-1. Really good knock up there into a Yasuo ultimate, but Dade has got his Morellonomicon now, looking good. Hasn't got the Static Shiv yet on the side.
Wax forced to pop the ultimate, actually going to turn around. Be like, all right, maybe we'll fight now. Brom's coming back. I have to say, Lamb's Brom looking a lot more on point than his Annie. We've seen that he does like these big engage supports, but he's going nice and aggressive in this lane. Yeah,
there's just more margin for error when you play a support that has so much more tank ability. And with that Unbreakable up and the stand behind me, just takes absolutely no damage against that Corgi, so able to play much more freely.
Dade will clean up his blue buff, though. So that big mana-hungry champion that you mentioned, Spawn, sorry, we'll be happy to have that item. Morellonomicon, a nice power spike for him as well. And this is the Yasuo power trough that plagues Yasuo players, I feel like. He just needs to start farming on this Static Shiv as much as he can.
Yeah, and they maybe even need to get him into a side lane because he's going to start being... Wow, as Dade gets another gank.
Never mind side lanes. Dade forced to flash.
Yeah, definitely. So good move there. That will be a repeat gank. Of course, when you are a Jarvan, it is always good to swap that Cataclysm for a gank, as we see Ruo returning it.
Great knock up though. Assassin going to E away, but he will die. Ruo's damage, insane.
Yeah, we talk about how much damage this Rek'Sai does with one damage item. We actually saw a 3 damage item Rek'Sai coming out as MLXG is being forced towards these Raptors. This might be the first dragon of the game because of how much pressure Dade can put on it. Is looking to take the Scuttle Crab first, and they've rotated Looper down. Yeah,
M3 going to go in for this dragon now. Dade is coming in, moves his soldiers in through there. Liam probably not going to steal this one away, and looks like Master3 will get themselves a nice quick dragon here in this particular game. Ruo smites it up, and there we go. 11 minutes in, and Master3 with the first big advantage.
So a much cleaner game coming out of Master3. You would say it was all on the back of their jungler. Ruo at the moment, 4-0 on 1. 5 of 6 kill participation, and has been absolutely everywhere, locking down objectives and really getting his team ahead.
Candy fighting back a bit as well. Got himself a Sheen plus a Ruby Crystal, looking to build in towards that Phage. Tencent behind here against the Civilian. It's been constantly harassing and pushing them in, but nothing too dangerous there. As Assassin's also 10 CS ahead, but again, not a big deal. And Looper getting the real big numbers here on Sim. She's getting ahead of this Maokai and farming it up.
Yeah, and that's danger zone because, of course, Wax won't be able to get away from that Singe whatsoever once he picks up that roller, as well as the Rylai's Crystal Scepter. It's just going to be so frustrating to have a Singe sit on top of you and mitigate a lot of your damage.
Jarvan gets the bad news about Dragon, so we'll try and clear out whatever vision he can there.
In general, Singe actually has a great build path in this lane, can actually go for a Thornmail after that, and maybe even transition into that Glacial Shroud, and finally the Frozen Heart, of course, mana synergizing so well, and that ultimate just makes him so pesky.
Looper is so annoying, just darting in between the turrets. Proxy farming once again between the Ada and the Tier 2.
And it's to the point now that he's picked up his Catalyst that even if they bring Jarvan up there, may not be able to kill him. So I agree with the decision to try and impact another area of the map. Don't let Ruo run circles around you and just leave Looper to do whatever Looper wants to do.
Yeah, and Looper has even more freedom than usual because Dragon's not an objective they have to worry about for a couple more minutes. So Looper will happily be doing this as Liam down the bottom again, going in onto Candy. I love this aggression in the bottom lane with Siva.
Yeah, looking super aggressive. Is building his AD a little bit of a CS advantage as well. Now 15 ahead. It looks like Ruo wants to change that around. Finally getting down there to try and affect with a gank, but being matched by MLXG. This might be our first big head-to-head in the bottom lane. No, Ruo actually backing away.
Jarvan coming through. Flashes here for both members of M3's bottom lane though, so Jarvan just going to look to use that ultimate and try and burn a quick flash here. He's hiding in that brush. Can he lock down the Thrash? They do have a decent amount of CC they could chain here, but Candy especially is quite tricky to lock down.
Yeah, and it looks like the bottom lane for M3 will just back away, so nothing much happening here. MLXG wasting a little bit of time, but not too much. No other objectives really on the map at this point.
Yeah, Assassin still ahead on CS, actually trying to use his static shiv and the pretty long range on his Q to poke these minions back. But look at Dade aggressively putting the Sand Soldiers forward here, trying to zone up and pick up his own farm.
Yeah, and I guess that's the interesting part of this matchup, as we have a gank in the bottom lane.
Andy getting jumped on that tower slow. Great glacial vision to follow in, and double TPs. I think are coming in. Loves City, so Ruo down there as well for Rek'Sai. There comes, no, it's Waxo who does come through, and Sky who came down from the top lane, excuse me. Brom gets the next kill down to Rek'Sai. That's 2-0. There's the stun, sorry, 2-1. And there's the third kill. Jarvan goes down, but good trade there for King.
Yeah, and actually able to stop the Cinch teleport, so he wasn't able to get in there and affect the fight. I think maybe even the turret went down a little bit too early for Lupa to be able to get in there. So he'll just be stuck pushing this top lane. Will pick himself up as a turret for it, but actually a little bit of a different build coming out of this thing.
He has the sweet Maokai item that we see, the big tank utility item.
Yeah, I think it's called Righteous Glory. I did muck that one up with Righteous Fury the other day, so I won't be forgetting the name anytime soon. As we see once again the ultimate coming out of Ruo. He has died for the first time, 5-1-1, still performing very well on this jungle.
I'm not sure M3 want their gold on that particular jungle. I think Rek'Sai's fine with Adams, especially if she goes quite tanky, but just in general, maybe Dade or Lupa, or I guess they carry Candy, would prefer a couple more of those kills.
Oh, definitely. That is always the case when you get a couple of kills as a jungler. A lot of pressure goes on you to affect the map even more once you do get yourself ahead. Looks like he will be picking up maybe even another Brutalizer. We saw a fairly aggressive build come out of
Clear Love.
Clear Love, yeah, it was Clear Love over there, so looking to replicate that maybe, and picks himself up a Giant Belt just for a little bit of health and tankiness in this mid game.
Rod of Ages has been finished up here by Sky as well, so Maokai's build coming along nicely. Merctrode's actually here coming through for Assassin, so probably a Blade of the Ruin King somewhere in his build needs to make up the attack speed for the CDR, but pretty necessary item against all the mixed damage.
Yeah, and finally getting Assassin into a side lane to get that CS back up. He was having a harder time against Dade Azir. Don't want to say he was really struggling because he has had a lead all game, but is getting fairly camped there, 1-3-1, not having the best game at the start on Yasuo.
And I like this again from King. They seem to always want to do this with their Sivir, at least in this series. They rotate Sivir into other lanes and just pressure them with the Sivir. I mean, Infinity Edge done Zeal there as well. No boots, but it's a short lane in mid. You can just constantly pressure down towers and clear out waves.
Yeah, and with that ultimate and the Summoner Spell Flash still up, not much danger coming out there. Dade will be able to clear lanes relatively well, but has now gone back, so this is their chance to really try and push this lane down.
This Assassin here is hanging out the bottom, maybe fancies a duel with Candy. There's a decent 2-level advantage here as well, but again, time to clear out some side waves here, and we're going to see a lot of Yasuo farming. Yeah,
so Yasuo really does need those items to turn into that late game powerhouse we've seen. With the team comp that they've put together, not much on actual Assassin to get his ultimate going. Will be finding an easy way into a fight, but he will need to pick a good one. As we see, 4 people strong stacked up. Dragon is 30 seconds away, so nice vision control with Sky coming down, leaving Lupa in the top lane. Of course, he has already taken that turret, so there is a long way to push before he can really impact.
I think Lupa's teleport's timed nicely as well. It should be back up by the time Dragon is, and he's just going to keep farming and pushing that wave in. Maokai had to walk down early because he didn't have his TP or wouldn't have it available for the next Dragon when it came back up. So good play there from both sides, actually, making sure their top laners are in the right place.
And it looks like Lupa going for a very defensive build here, going for a Randuin's Omen. Maybe the Frozen Heart afterwards. Of course, that Water Mail building into both items, and the Dragon has been started up now by M3. Lupa's teleport is off cooldown, so if they do go, this will be a 5v4. Lupa coming in.
Yeah, Sky rotated up, no teleport for him, and that's going to give the Dragon away to M3 again. 2 Dragons now, and King maybe didn't want to contest that particular Dragon, but that was very easy for Master3.
Yeah, complete opposite of what was happening last game, with now Master3 really taking control of the early objective, looking to push their advantage in the mid lane as well. Candy and Love CD in the bottom lane will be able to take out another turret, so building a slow gold advantage here. Assassin needs to be careful, he's pretty low.
He does not get a static shift proc. I guess the Tornado doesn't proc it. And we'll move down. He's actually just forced to back away. Corki's going to get that tower. Lupa has now started ganking people in the enemy jungles. Rua has come through now as well. Lamb, though, will get away.
This is maybe a 3v4 if they're able to get in there with Maokai.
Yes, guys coming through. Lamb's going to try and line up, and does get all 3 of them, actually. A Wax now going to come in over the top, try and do that damage, but Dade coming in, pops them all back with his ultimate, and Lupa is doing so much damage in the backline and being so irritating. Dade going to get hit up by that boomerang blade. Wax is low on mana, though, has to be careful. Sand Soldier gets the double there for Dade.
Oh, and Liam is so close to a Sand Soldier. Meanwhile, I think it was actually Jarvan picking up a kill on Love CD. So in the end, a 2 for 2 across the map? No, 2 for 1. Only one person going down, and Ruo not done yet.
He's so speedy there. Actually double knock up their Assassin. Maybe going to line up an ult, but look at the damage there from Rek'Sai.
Yeah, able to pick himself up the kill with that ultimate and the home guards coming through. So great job from Ruo. Really getting going now, and Lupa still being an annoying Singe in the top lane.
Yep, fancies his chances. Even without his ultimate, just going to regenerate some health here as best he can. He'll just hang out. Level 13 now for this Singed. Looking like the Lupa of old.
Yeah, and 172 CS at only 19 minutes through. He's going strong with the AD carries here, so look for Wax to have a really hard time in this mid-game. About 7,000 gold picked up, and he's actually gone for the Frozen Heart before the Randuin, so yeah, Wax and that Yasuo are going to do absolutely nothing against this here.
I think about 1,000 gold up for Lupa as well over his lane opponent. Sky, who's been, again, a great player and possibly the best performing player so far of King, is struggling now against Lupa's Singe. Lupa play definitely changed from yesterday, where he just did not have good games, unfortunately.
Yeah, and we're seeing it, I think, through his champion picks. He's gone back to something that is a little bit more impactful in the game, and he didn't really do much for me in Maokai, of course, just being that tank. So I like the Rumble pick game 1. The Singe pick I'm always going to like. Just so frustrating to have to deal with. And look at him all over the map, just split pushing at will, picking up as much CS as he wants.
Well, you and everybody else, I think, loves Lupa Singe here. King are looking to group, potentially try and find a fight. Assassin actually got a BF sword here, so maybe going in for a bit more aggression. There's the Cataclysm onto Dade. Pops out though. Great dash away there, and now Sky going to get hooked in under the tower, taking a lot of damage. Lamb does get smited for the slow. Yeah, Lupa coming around the side now as well. Sky coming in. Candy blows up Liam there, and now Lupa just going to stick to everyone. Wax has to back up towards his tower. Be careful, buddy. You get hit by one hook.
And this will mean another objective coming in from M3. Azir pushes turret so well, and maybe we spoke too soon about Dade's Azir, because this time looking mechanically on point.
Yeah, going to set up a tower now as well, potentially extend that siege in towards the tier 2 mid turret. M3 going to clear out a bunch of vision and jungle groups. So in fact, Lupa going to get caught out now by King. Assassin's found him as well. Good smite coming in. He needs to knock him up though. Sky though will do the job and picks up the kill onto Lupa.
Yeah, Lupa was looking for that lantern over the wall. Unfortunately, not able to get it, so he does fall down. So that's a return kill. Nice answer coming out of King, but with how big this Rek'Sai is, with how big Lupa is starting to become, you would think this game needs to be spun around relatively quickly. They are about 4,000 gold behind.
And important to note, King have only one real turret in their quotes as they picked up the bottom outer. As his turrets do get tracked in the Spectator clan as well. That fooled me yesterday, but it will not today. So 2 towers there on the board for King. They pick up a bit of gold for that as well, but only one tower here. Not a lot of space on this map. And M3 have a 4,000 gold advantage brewing now.
Yeah, and Ruo using his ultimate once again, get out of that base, get back into his jungle, going to look to donate that blue buff over to Dade, who has nearly got his Zhonya's Hourglass, will be able to go back and pick that up after the blue buff if he so pleases, and it is in perfect timing for the next dragon.
I have to say though, we mentioned it before, so much of this gold is onto Ruo, and it's not that I don't think he can perform with the gold he's been given. He certainly has been so far in this game, but as you mentioned, when you get ahead as the jungler, that pressure is there. Candy gonna get knocked up here. Assassin, easy ultimate. Goodbye, Koki.
And it's so much better to play Yasuo with someone that can just get them in the air so easy. Jarvan providing the knock-up, and the dunk comes through. Able to pick up a kill for himself, and once again, Lupa's teleport timed very well for the next dragon fight. Bottom turret is being pressured at the tier 2, and only Ruo here to defend the mid lane turret, so may actually lose 2 at once. No, Lupa teleporting in.
He wants to defend it. Ruo going to come and look for the knockup. Waxo pops the spell shield, prevents that from happening, but Love City will rotate in with Lupa. And King will give up the push there. Dade now going to counter push out so many Sand Soldiers with that blue buff. And Zondi's now finished up as well for him. He's looking pretty here on Azir.
Ooh, and this is a little bit bad of a back timing. Actually, might even be stopped by Dade. Assassin's gone aggressive.
Yeah, Assassin has indeed. Now Dade going to get exhausted up. He needs to be careful. Trying to find minions. That's a good knock up there for Dade. Assassin darting around. Has to be so careful. Windroll will not block that rocket especially. And Candy cleans up that kill.
Yeah, really nice play from Dade. Burning the exhaust as soon as this Assassin went aggressive. Splitting him up with that war. And yeah, they're going to have to give up another dragon because Wax has just gone into the top lane to clean out that big minion wave.
And a small note on Assassin, he is actually going kind of an older Yasuo build, but one that I think works exceptionally well in the team comp. He's just going basically all in on the early game damage. Infinity Edge will be his second item here, where it has been shifted a little more towards the third item, and that means that they're just going to want to get in, use all of the big teamfight hard engages. They've got plenty of tools for Yasuo's ultimate as well. But Master3 right now in control of this game. They're going to take their third straight dragon.
Yeah, and the way you think about it really with Yasuo is if you need a defensive item, you go for maybe a Hex Drinker in there to stop the bleeding. That's very, very dire straits. If you're relegated to split pushing because you don't really have many people to help you out, you pick up the Blade of the Ruined King. But when you have all those knockups, why not go the Infinity Edge, work on the 100% crit, and just look to absolutely murder people in that ultimate?
Yeah, so Assassin gonna look a little bit more like an Assassin actually here on with this particular Yasuo build, but still King struggling a little bit here. A few thousand gold behind, about 3 as Candy. Another great game here. 2-3-1, not as exceptional as his last performance, but looking good with his item build. Seems like maybe Last Whisper's coming out though.
Yeah, potentially Last Whisper. Maybe even going into a Blade of the Ruined King and just sitting on that pickaxe. We'll be interested to see what he picks up. I don't like Last Whisper as a general item on Corki this early in the game, just because of how much mixed damage he has. I think Bloodthirster, Blade of the Ruined King, or Infinity Edge are definitely superior builds.
Yeah, it's just not that much armor on the side of King at the moment.
Oh, so he is going to go the Blade of the Ruined King for the first time. So potentially to deal with a Maokai who hasn't picked up much resistances at this point in the game, but does have a lot of HP coming through from that roller, and the Spectre's Cow that he's picked up. So a little bit of a variation on the build, showing that he adapts depending on what he's against.
Yeah, and again, more of that duelist, aggressive Chinese Corki build that we've seen a lot. They really love their Blade second on Corki, as Rua here is going to surf through the top side of the river. They found Assassin actually to easily job, and it's not a bit awkward. Assassin's got to be careful. Does get knocked in and CC'd up. He's got nowhere to go. Misses the nado on Candy as well. And goodbye, Yasuo.
Yeah, and Rua picking up another kill for himself. He's 7-1-3, but they may even be able to rotate into a Baron here. No, choosing not to, going towards a red buff, just looking to secure their own buffs and really look to maybe pressure in on these inner turrets.
And Lupa, despite having a pretty low participating game in terms of kill scoreline, 0-1-4, he is doing so much work for his team as Wax gets chunked out by Dade.
Yeah, so Dade's Azir really starting to power up in this mid game as Lupa once again going in for a flank, forcing them off that turret. And Azir Corki, especially with the Trinity Force in there, it's just going to take turrets so quickly.
It's just something comical to me about Singe as the champion, but Lupa is doing his job on a champion that he knows so well. And you can tell it's running King around this map. They're actually basically containing them around their tier 2 mid turret here. And they're going to push in, try and take it. Lupa going to tank up now as well.
Complete zone off the turret from Lupa, and the hook lands.
That was a nice hook there. Rua going to come in now as well. The teamfight will start here as Sky pops ultimate. Assassin going in. Oh, he's exhausted though. He does hold and get a couple members, but Assassin still running in the backline, trying to get off the Corki. Gets pushed back by Empress Abide. Now Dada getting aggressed on. Rua gets the first kill. There's Thresh getting the kill into Yasuo. And now King is being hunted down by Master3. 3 straight kills for 0.
Yeah, and Lupa won't even fall. Dade picking up another kill. This may even be the mid turret going to go down. Death timers are extremely short, only 20 seconds on some players, but they'll be able to push in for the first base turret of the game. Maybe even pick themselves up an inhibitor.
Inhib turret dead. Inhibitor looking to go down here as well. And Master3, for such a long brawly game we had, really turned it up here in this second game.
Yeah, certainly haven't. They've done it through being able to get some good team fights with this Singe. Emperor's Divide coming through absolutely wrecked Yasuo in that fight as well as the exhaust. And in the end, Candy just able to sit back and fire all those missiles, all the phosphorus bombs, and just a consistent damage too much.
Yeah, Candy's he's been the janitor. We said that, I think, maybe too much about AD carries, but with that blade now finished up as well, doing plenty of damage here. Dade also ramping up with his build. Stingers now is in his inventory.
Yeah, maybe even moving into that Natchez, of course, doesn't apply the on-hit effect from the Sand Soldiers, but does provide some attack speed, does provide even more cooldown reduction and mana regen, so not a bad build coming out of here.
But a big gold deficit now for King. M3 up at 8,000 plus gold at this point. The Infinity Edges are done for the 80 carries, I guess, here of King, but they just don't have enough damage. And this comp, especially with the way Assassin's building, feels like it really wanted to have a bit of a better early game and push through a big mid-game team fight.
Yeah, it certainly did, and now this Singe is absolutely massive, has picked himself up a Thorn Mail, I think nearly unkillable at this point in the game, and they may have to cut their losses and just turtle up very hard here because Lupa is just going to wreak havoc in team fight.
Yeah, he's running wild right now. Dade with his blue buff as well, 4-2-7. Looking strong also on this Azir. King now gonna...
Sunfire Cape finished up as well as Ranju and Omen for Ruo, so he's nice and tanky. 8-1 and 6. He's turned into nearly a 4th carry for his team this game. Not much going to stop him as well. As he picks up another Brutalizer, expect him to maybe... Actually, no, I don't. I was going to say Black Cleaver looks like it synergizes as well with the kit that comes out of Rek'Sai, but with all of the AP damage coming out, just build a Youmuu's Ghostblade. Go very solo and try and kill people yourself.
Yeah, Wox now does have a last whisper and recognizes that the big tanky Singe needs to be chopped down a little bit. But
as well as the Rek'Sai, so tanky this part of the game. Definitely agree with that. Pick up Fresh also getting quite big, and they'll just be able to siege this turret down even without their top lane.
Yeah, Lupa still has his teleport if he needs to be there, but he's going to be annoying instead here. Because he's Lupa and he's playing.
Trinity Force and Azir synergize very well when taking turrets because both members can just walk up, get one auto attack as well as a W on there, and it chunks a lot of the health through from the turret. So even if you have to whittle it down slowly, still does a lot of work. Yeah,
Rua, so speedy, firing out the Prey Seekers in borrowed form. He's getting a bit of vision for his team. Lupa, kind of man-fighting Skyder. That'll take a while though. And we're just going to have a siege on the turret. That hook was very close.
And the damage still coming out of Dade. They'll be able to take this one down relatively quickly. Lupa now with the flank forces them off completely. Really textbook play coming here from M3. A very messy last game as we see the inhibitors turrets now under siege. But yeah, much cleaner play coming through this time around.
Yeah, just great pressure from all 3 points here. Lupa in the top earlier, pressuring the top side. That wave looks like it's pushing in now as well. M3 down the bottom, and Inhib pushing in with the super creeps now as well. Everything going right here for M3 as they look to close out this game here. And honestly, after game 1, a surprisingly dominant faction.
Yeah, and I don't think there's really much that can stop them at this point in the game. Hook does miss, but they just can't get an engage that looks right for them, King, so they're going to be forced to back off. Dragon is up. They'll pick themselves up. Another one of them, and it's just really at the point where I don't think there's anything King can do to respond to how tanky they've got on the side of M3.
Credit to Love CD in that siege there as well, by the way. We loved his Thresh play in game 1. That was about the only point he could have thrown that hook under that tower to hit Wox. He was, to his credit, spaced just far out enough that he didn't get hit as 4 straight dragons go to M3. King, I think, have seen this before, and they don't like this movie.
No, they definitely don't. This might be a little bit of a repeat action. Look, Wox is very, very fed. He's got 302 CS at 30 minutes. He's CSing extremely well. He's got 3 items, but when you've got a Singe that now has picked up another Giant's Belt, there's just nothing you can do about him. You'll see here, Assassin cannot stay in this lane with Lupa.
No, Lupa is just so big in this game. Just running around. He's created so much pressure for his team, like he was famous for, honestly, on his Singe way back in the day. And it's been impressive because M3 have played around Lupa's pressure perfectly. And again, if there's one thing we can pinpoint here that's changed between day 1 and day 2 for M3, it's teamwork.
Yeah, and it looks like they will look to start up the Baron here. They were on top of a ward, so won't be able to get it done. Hook does come through.
Nice one to lay on there. He's going to knock him up as well. Assassin going to look for him, but Dade just eats problem. Now Wox getting aggressive as well. Has to be careful. Lupa now in the back as well, flinging the carries out, and Assassin just getting chased out there as that's 3 kills, coming up for M3. Now Sky getting aggressed on. Driving in the back, has to be careful. Dade chasing him down, wants the kill, goes forward. Oh, not quite enough. But there's Malco going down. 5 straight kills, never mind M3. This might just be it.
Yeah, and Lupa, meanwhile, in the base, just running absolute circles around. This will be the game as Lupa looks to push in the turrets. They're actually going for Baron. Inhibitor. Troll Inhibitor does spawn in time. And Dade, much better showing this time around, 7-2-9. Actually, overall, what a massive game coming out of M3. We talked about how their confidence did need a little bit of a boost, and this will definitely be it.
I do actually like the Baron call here from M3 because the death timers are still quite short at this stage of the game. So they do get that Baron for themselves, but knowing that they've got plenty of room here, Lupa and Dade are just going to move back here, and I think that might have just been the map being tapped there.